So, Alabama's correctional system. Well, it's pretty much a textbook example, right?
Yeah.
A punitive structure that's really struggled.
Definitely. Struggled to deliver genuine public safety.
Yeah, we're talking chronic overcrowding, very limited rehab
I
options.
mean, that leads directly, consequently, to one of the highest recidivism rates in the U.S.
Exactly. The traditional model, it's just demonstrably failing, failing to get people ready for successful community life.
Hmm?
And the response to this crisis, it isn't just, building more prisons.
No, thankfully.
We are diving deep today into the Alabama prison reform proposal, which is, frankly, a radical digital-first solution.
It really is.
Designed to transform these facilities into, integrated centers for personal growth and skill development.
That's the goal.
So our mission today is really to unpack how this massive overhaul leverages technology. We're talking AI, VR, a huge educational upgrade to fundamentally try and change the future of justice there.
And I think the power of this proposal, it really comes from its foundational belief, which is that rehabilitation isn't some soft alternative to justice.
Right.
It actually strengthens public safety. The whole strategy hinges on this idea that consistent education, reinforced by empathy, by moral restoration, that's the most direct route to cutting down reoffending rates dramatically.
And it's fascinating because the state already has the institutional muscle to anchor this shift.
That's right. Ingram State Technical College, ISTC, they're the sole correctional education provider currently.
So they're the engine.
They are the engine driving this entire technological transformation. It builds on what's already there institutionally.
Okay, so let's unpack the core mechanism then. How do they make this scalable? Because that's always the issue.
It is.
ISTC's vision, it relies entirely on what they're calling a digital-first model, which means putting the learning structure directly onto secure tablets used by inmates. Specifically, deploying the Canvas learning management system, Canvas LMS, system-wide.
And Canvas LMS, that's the necessary pivot here. I mean, if you look at the logistical nightmare of running traditional education in prisons.
Oh, yeah. Scheduling, transport, finding instructors for remote spots.
It's almost impossible to scale effectively. But Canvas, it solves a lot of this because it's a secure and critically offline-enabled learning portal.
Offline-enabled, right. That's huge.
It means mandatory academic, vocational, even behavioral training can be delivered consistently across the whole decentralized system.
Even for inmates in restricted housing or way out in rural units.
Exactly. 24/7 access. That consistency is something they just couldn't achieve before.
Okay, this system-wide rollout, it sounds incredible for access, definitely. But let's pause and maybe introduce some critical friction here. A tech-first approach this radical, this expensive, it has to face some serious headwinds, right? I mean, who's funding thousands of tablets?
That's the essential challenge, absolutely.
And how do you secure them against hacking, misuse, across such a large, diverse population?
Right. So the proposal addresses security, first off, by ensuring these tablets are highly restricted. They're sandbox devices.
Okay.
Specifically designed just for learning content and internal communications. No general internet access.
Got it. Lockdown.
Lockdown. As for funding, the initial hardware investment is substantial, no question. It's covered by a mix of state allocation and, importantly, specific grants supporting tech infrastructure for correctional education.
Okay, so grants are key.
Very key.
Yeah.
And the long-term cost justification, it really hinges on the projected savings from reduced recidivism.
Ah, the ROI argument.
Exactly. If you can actually cut, say, 10% of the returning population each year, the technology starts to pay for itself relatively quickly compared to the cost of reincarceration.
That reframes the cost then, doesn't it, as an investment in cutting future expenses?
Precisely.
Okay, so moving past just getting access, which is huge in itself, here's where the tech gets really interesting, I think. We're not just talking about reading PDFs on a screen.
No, not at all.
We're talking about AI personalized learning paths.
Exactly. And this tackles, the failure of traditional adulthood, which is often that one-size-fits-all approach.
Which just doesn't work when you have vast differences in literacy or skills.
Right. So these adaptive algorithms, they analyze an inmate's performance. Where do they struggle with math? Specific literacy gaps. Where do they actually excel? And then based on that data, it instantly recommends very specific skill modules.
So it could be like basic literacy help for one person.
Or customized GED prep for another, or even advanced certifications for someone already skilled. It makes the learning curve relevant to the individual, finally.
And the digital system means the progress tracking isn't subjective anymore.
Precisely. They track everything through embedded, measurable assessments, things like quizzes, reflection logs.
Reflection logs, interesting.
Yeah, and awarding digital badges when modules are completed. This gives immediate feedback to the learner, which is motivating.
And it gives ISTC the data.
Right, real-time data on engagement. Plus, it enables that 247 asynchronous access needed for, non-traditional schedules within the facility.
Okay, so once that digital classroom gets the academic foundation sorted, the program pivots pretty hard into technical workforce prep.
Real job skills.
Yeah, the sources detail a huge variety of specific industry-aligned technical and industry certifications offered through ISTC. All designed, it seems, to get people hired quickly into sectors with labor shortages.
That's exactly the strategy. The list is intentionally geared towards filling market demand in Alabama and, neighboring states, too.
So what kind of things are we seeing?
High-demand trades. HVAC, electrical systems, automotive tech, diesel mechanics, carpentry, welding.
Classics, but needed.
Very needed. Plus, culinary arts with ServSafe certification. But crucially, they're also prepping learners for the digital economy.
Ah, okay. How so?
With IT fundamentals like CompTIA, ITF+, and A+ basis. Also training in entrepreneurship basics and digital literacy, even AI awareness.
That IT component feels huge. That's often a massive hurdle for people reentering, right? Just basic digital literacy.
It's a huge barrier, so equipping them there is vital for the modern workforce.
Okay, smart, targeted skill building. But this raises a big practical issue for me.
Okay.
How do you actually teach hands-on, potentially hazardous trades, welding, electrical, auto repair, when the learner is locked up in a secure facility?
Right.
You can't just hand everyone an acetylene torch.
Exactly. And that's where the second major tech solution comes in,
Yeah.
specifically designed to address those facility limitations. VR vocational labs.
Virtual reality labs, okay.
This tech safely overcomes the security and, frankly, the cost barriers of traditional hands-on vocational training.
How realistic is it?
Highly realistic. These labs provide high-fidelity practice. They replicate industry environments for complex, even dangerous skills. So an inmate can practice, say, dozens of welding passes.
Without using up expensive materials or posing a fire risk? Exactly. Or practice complex automotive diagnostics safely. That scalability, eliminating both risk and material cost. That's the key insight.
That is clever.
Yeah.
Eliminating risk and cost simultaneously.
Absolutely. And then there's the bridge to employment, which Canvas handles quite elegantly.
Wow.
The system automatically generates digital portfolios. These compile all the verified credentials, the certificates, the logged hours of VR practice.
Oh, okay. Like a verified resume.
Essentially, yes. It gives employers a streamlined, trustworthy record of that person's skills, which is vital for overcoming, understandable employer skepticism.
Okay, that makes sense. Now we have to move beyond just the technical job skills because those are important. They fill later gaps.
But they don't necessarily address the core issues driving recidivism.
Exactly. The emotional, the moral issues, the behavioral patterns, the harm caused. The proposal acknowledges, the public skepticism about whether inmates are beyond moral redemption.
Which is a common sense. But the philosophy here seems to be that deep moral development is actually the ultimate key to sustainable behavior change.
This is what they frame as moral compass reinforcement. And it really is the heart of the reform effort, trying to push justice more towards restoration.
So how do they approach that?
They emphasize rebuilding the inmate's ethical reasoning using established psychological models, primarily moral recognition therapy, or MRT.
MRT, can you unpack that briefly?
Sure. MRT is essentially a cognitive behavioral program. It's designed specifically to increase moral reasoning, to improve ethical decision-making. It's a structured roadmap.
Okay.
And this is paired with mandatory restorative justice programs where reflection on the harm caused is central, plus options for faith-based and ethical studies focusing on things like forgiveness and integrity.
This raises a really important question, though. How does technology, which we usually associate with data, logic, maybe simulations, how does it actually help foster incredibly complex human things like empathy or genuine remorse?
That's a fair question. And they're using technological interventions specifically designed for this, for emotional growth.
Like what?
Within Canvas, there are AI-assisted journaling modules.
AI journaling, how does that work?
These don't just log thoughts passively. They use natural language processing to actually track shifts in emotional expression, honesty levels, progress over time, guiding the user toward greater insight.
Analyzing their writing.
Analyzing patterns, yeah. And even more intense are the VR empathy simulations.
Okay, tell me about those.
Inmates put on the headset, and they experience highly realistic scenarios, but from a victim's perspective or a community member's.
Wow.
It's specifically designed to improve personal insight, cultivate genuine remorse by forcing them to confront the real-world impact of actions similar to their own.
That sounds incredibly powerful and potentially traumatic. Needs careful monitoring, surely.
It absolutely does. And for that immediate support and monitoring, they're implementing AI therapy chatbots.
Chatbots for therapy.
For immediate asynchronous emotional support. A lifeline at any hour. But critically, these chatbots, and the journaling modules too, they feed data into predictive analytics.
Okay, data again. For what purpose?
The system monitors for sudden shifts, spikes in distress, language patterns indicating early signs of depression or potential aggression.
So it flags individuals.
It flags at-risk individuals, allowing human counselors to intervene proactively before a conflict escalates or a personal crisis occurs.
Interesting. Proactive intervention based on AI flags.
Exactly.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Any proposal that fundamentally restructures prison life like this must address security.
Absolutely paramount.
Rehabilitation and safety aren't separate goals here. They have to reinforce each other. So what security measures are included to ensure this digital focus doesn't compromise safety, especially as staff roles might be evolving?
Right. The proposal integrates AI-powered monitoring systems, think advanced analytics on camera feeds and sensor data designed to detect and flag potential conflicts or contraband activities before they escalate.
So proactive prevention, again, supported by data.
Yes. But just as crucial is the human element, the staff training.
Okay.
The staff themselves are being sort of upgraded through VR staff training.
VR for staff, too.
Yes, focusing heavily on de-escalation techniques, trauma-informed care. This ensures officers who are now shifting into roles maybe more like mentors.
Right, less purely custodial.
That they're professionally equipped to manage a rehabilitative environment safely and effectively, enhancing safety for everyone involved.
Okay. Let's talk about the final stage, which is maybe the most critical, successful reentry.
The ultimate goal.
Because even with CompTIA certs and some emotional growth, that transition back to civilian life is it's a monumental hurdle.
It really is.
How does the proposal ensure there's a clear pathway back?
Well, they use VR again here for reentry simulations.
What do those simulate?
Crucial daily life skills. Things many inmates haven't practiced in years, or maybe ever. Everything from the nuances of a job interview to managing personal finances. Even just conflict resolution in public spaces. Practicing those interactions.
Building practical confidence.
Exactly. And this is paired with very active outreach through dedicated reentry liaisons.
Okay, people on the ground.
Yes. These liaisons partner directly with Alabama employers, with workforce boards, faith-based groups, specifically for guaranteed job placement.
Guaranteed.
While aiming for placement. Ensuring those digital certificates and portfolios actually translate into a solid landing pad. Immediate employment opportunities.
That connection is vital. Now, to understand the ambition here, the proposal explicitly draws inspiration from Norway.
It does.
Most people know Norway slashed its recidivism rate down to around 20%, which is incredible. But the core difference is philosophical, isn't it?
It's fundamentally philosophical. The shift in Norway was radical, moving from purely punitive to a system centered on human dignity.
So what principles is Alabama trying to adopt from that model?
Well, core principles like normalization, making prison life mirror outside society as much as possible. To foster responsibility, independent decision-making, basic life routines. Then there's mandatory education and work, ensuring every single inmate studies or works daily in structured, purposeful activities, not just idle time.
Purposeful activity.
And maybe most importantly, professionalized staff. Officers acting less like traditional guards, more like mentors, social reintegration coaches, directly supporting inmate progress.
That's a huge cultural shift for staff.
A massive shift. Requires significant training and buy-in.
Okay, so bringing all these pieces together, the tech, the philosophy, the Norwegian inspiration, what does this mean for accountability? Reform needs clear metrics.
Absolutely. You have to measure success.
What are the measurable goals for this proposal?
They are impressively specific, actually. The proposal targets a significant 10% decrease in the state recidivism rate per year, over 5 years.
10% per year, that's ambitious.
Very. On the employment side, the goal is 70% of released inmates employed within 6 months, thanks largely to those ISTC certs and reentry support.
Okay. What about inside the facilities?
They expect a 40% decline in violent institutional incidents, driven by that mix of behavioral therapy, better staff training, and the AI monitoring.
40% reduction in violence. Wow.
And critically, for the education piece, they aim for 90% participation and engagement in the Canvas-based training, confirming that the digital classroom model is actually being used effectively, system-wide.
That level of specificity, it really underscores the seriousness of this effort, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests this isn't just talk. It's a plan with defined targets.
It really feels like a complete paradigm shift they're aiming for.
Right.
Replacing that old model of, frankly, warehousing and hopelessness with actual opportunity powered by technology that can scale.
And it aims to prove that core idea: when you integrate dignity, accountability, and real education, the system stops focusing only on punishment.
And starts generating productive citizens.
That's the hope. That's the goal.
So concluding this deep dive, you really have to recognize the sheer ambition here. When Canvas tablets become these scalable, personalized classrooms, when ISTC certifications turn incarcerated individuals into genuinely skilled, certified workers ready for today's market.
Right.
And when tools like AI and VR are used to try and nurture that deep emotional growth needed for empathy, for remorse, justice truly starts to evolve, doesn't it? From just confinement towards actual restoration.
That's the transformation they're betting on.
And maybe it proves that treating people humanely doesn't weaken justice at all. It redeems it. And that, I think, is a powerful thought for you, the listener, to carry forward as you watch this radical reformation effort unfold in Alabama.